Alright, what the fuck is up YouTube? Epic here, back with another video on the channel. Today, boys, it is finally time to show off the Metal Messiah build for my Zane. I know you guys have been waiting a long time. I'm really sorry it took this long to come out. This is by far one of the most fun builds I've ever made. It does not require Seeing Dead, and it also doesn't require the secret spy-com. You can use either of them, or even go with something totally different, but I would honestly recommend one of the two. But this is easily one of the most fun and dangerous builds I've ever made. Now, of course, this is a thematic build, and we are making it in the spirit of the Metal Messiah himself, none other than Wilhelm, Killhelm, Skillhelm himself. So this is for him. So let's waste no time and get straight into the items. I'm not going to have the drops on screen. Instead, there is a full list in the description of every item in this build, as well as some other notes for those of you who are going to be curious. So starting off first, we have the Plasma Coil. If you haven't already seen my video on this thing, it is a bona fide killer. It literally needs no introduction, so I don't want to spend too much time. We're going to move straight on to the next item. We've got a Fire Conference Skull. This is basically for Grave Ward. This is like his sex toy, but it doesn't bring him any pleasure at all. Instead, it just one-shots him. It's crazy. It's really powerful, really nice. We've got a Hellwalker, because with all of our ASC elements, when you put this thing on, it will just obliterate literally everything in its path. Next up, we've got a Light Show. Now, admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of the Light Show. I was debating taking it out of the build, but I did get a pretty nutty kill on Traunt with it, and it also does shred a lot of enemies in the takedowns as well, so I left it in. If you don't want to use it, feel free to chuck it out. I don't really care. For our shield, we've got the Frozen Heart. Now, I've got two variants of the Frozen Heart for you if you want to download this build. The first one is the Arse Frozen Heart. This one is the one you're going to be using when you're mobbing, and the one that I've got on right now, but it will be in the inventory when you download the build, is the ASE Frozen Heart. This is to get more ASC when we're doing bossing kills, and yeah, that's what you want. Next up, the Secret Spy-Com itself. Now, admittedly, I don't have the best one, but this is the one I decided to settle for after doing countless runs of Arms Race. This one has 2 into commitment, 1 into the capstone, and then we also have some weapon damage on there as well, which is really nice. If you got a better Secret Spy, feel free to merge it with this build, but that's the one that I've got for you if you're going to download the save. Next up, I've got the Snowdrift Victory Rush, and I couldn't decide on an artifact to go for with this build, so I stuck with the All Reliable. Now, I do have a cut purse in here for you as well if you need to get ammo back, but the Snowdrift is really what I decided to settle on after trying basically every artifact in the game. For our grenade, this really does not matter. You can go ahead and mix and match whatever grenades you want, but I've got a Stormfront here. I literally could not care for the grenade. I'm just here for the ASC, which is corrosive. ASCs are going to be very important in this build, much like any Zane build. That's why it's in there, and that's why we have ASC corrosive, because basically every enemy in the takedowns has a corrosive health bar, or should I say an armor health bar, a health bar that is weak to corrosive. Same thing, you know what I mean. Alright, speaking of Grave Ward one-shotting weapons, we have a Root here. Again, this is literally for Grave Ward. You could use it for mobbing too, but there's really no need, but it's in here just to mess Grave Ward stay up. Now, the next item in the build is the Beacon, and this is a really bad beacon. If I could get a ×2 one, then I would definitely do so, and I wouldn't have Sentinel Cryo on it either. If you get a better beacon, feel free to send it to me or put it in the build, but this is the one I've got. Another weapon that passed the takedown test with flying colors is the Firefly. Now, we tested this in True Malawan takedown, we tested this in the normal Guardian takedown, and it did fine in both. It does struggle with True Guardian takedown, but most builds do nowadays, so I'm not really fussed about that. Now, I don't use the Firefly that often. I pretty much only chuck this on for fun, but it does well in the takedowns, and I know a lot of people like it, so that's why it's in the build. The Recursion literally needs no introduction. How do you use this thing? You shoot your shoulder cannon, you aim down sights, you hit the crit spot, and things get one-shotted for like 60, 70, 80, 70 billion damage. It's crazy. The Trickshot, again, I just made a video on this weapon. This thing is absolutely nuts. This is the weapon I run around with non-stop. I don't know why it's actually not in my primary loadout, but this is the weapon I run around with non-stop. This will, again, one-shot the majority of enemies in true takedown. It is absolutely phenomenal. I've got ASC Rad on there as well, because even though I do have ASC Rad on this shield, if I'm using the Arse one for mobbing, which I most likely am, it's nice to have ASC Rad on this thing because it's always hitting crits. Just 2 more things to show off. Firstly is the other comm. I told you guys that you can use Seeing Dead if you want, and that's why I've got one in here, and it is a really nice one. I can't remember who sent this to me, but thank you whoever it was. It's a +5 Seeing Dead with weapon damage, action skill damage, and SMG damage. I honestly couldn't have asked for a better Seeing Undead, and most of the time I will run it in the build, but I've got my spy on for now. But yes, the Sea Undead is in here because it's the Sea Undead. Really, if I didn't put it in here, I'd probably get a bunch of dislikes, so it's in here. And then finally, the last item in the build is the Whispering Ice. Now, not only is this a really, really good grenade, but we have ASC Incendiary, and I usually just put this on when I'm going for Grave Ward kills. So yeah, it's a really solid nade, and it's here for an alternative to corrosive if you need it. Now, I should have done this at the start of the video, but I didn't. Fucking sue me, but the skill tree is on screen right now. So if you want to copy that into your game, go ahead and do so. We do not spec into green tree, which is why it is not on the screen, so don't worry about that. And again, I want to reiterate that if you are on PC, you can find a direct link to this build in the description down below, as long as a drop list for all of the weapons and some additional notes that I might leave in there for you guys. So let me actually deep dive into the skill tree now, because there's a few things that you guys are going to question, and I just want to talk about them because I know you're going to be like, Epic, why did you do that? Firstly, is the point into duct tape mod. Epic, why? Well, if you don't already know, duct tape mod just got changed so that now if you just put one skill point into duct tape mod, you are basically immune to all splash damage. Now, I'm currently unaware of if this is a bug or not. It definitely doesn't sound like it should work that way, but you can literally shoot a backburner at your feet and it will deal like no damage to you apart from the dot. I did it on stream and I almost made a fucking mess. It was crazy. We've also only got 3 points into Donnybrook, and you're probably thinking, Epic, why? You have literally got a Sea Undead with +5 into Donnybrook. Why not just go full throttle and go 10 out of 10 and just go completely overkill? And that's because the extra 2 points are going to give us nowhere near as much damage as we are going to get damage out of Violent Momentum, which is where we shifted those 2 points into. We worked it out on stream and we came to the conclusion that Violent Momentum was way better as a 5 out of 5 than Donnybrook was. Another thing I want to go over is, Epic, why did you not spec into Brain Freeze? It is literally a god tier skill, and don't get me wrong, I fully agree with you, but the problem is we just don't need it because we're killing stuff way too quick. So it would be a waste of points to have this top layer of skills just to get to Brain Freeze. If Brain Freeze was at the top, then I definitely would put a few points into it, but it's not. That's the world we live in. We got to deal with it. I also decided to only put 1 point into Sheer Will, and the reason why we did this is because you get 15 stacks of it, and that is more than enough to replenish our 5 shots of MNTIS and also get our drone back, so we really do not need it. And I'm really glad I remembered this as well, because I was definitely going to get something about this in the comment section. Why did you even spec into Praemunitus when it doesn't even give you that much mag size? Well, because, pay attention, the Trickshot right here has a 6 mag size, and now if we swap to the Trickshot, you can see we have 12 bullets. That means instead of only being able to fire this many bullets at enemies, what we can actually do is fire this many bullets at enemies, and it just makes it a lot better. And finally, before I forget, we have Deja Vu. Epic, why did you not spec into Deja Vu? That's like infinite ammo, but actually, no, it's not, because it doesn't actually get classed as a kill skill, meaning if we want to swap to our Seeing Dead, we cannot proc Deja Vu, so it basically makes this skill kind of useless. So that's why we don't use Deja Vu. Now, I guarantee there's already a bunch of build connoisseurs in the comment section down below critiquing my pronunciation of some of the skills, and honestly, if you don't like the build, you don't have to download it. I just have a lot of fun with this. In my opinion, the game isn't about one-shotting stuff and going for damage caps, so I really don't care if I'm not hitting like 38 billion damage. As long as I can go around, kill stuff really fast, and have a really good time, then I am set. But anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the build. Thank you so much for watching the video, and on that note, please take care of one another and have a nice day.